guys, Aaron here. A few months back, I posted a video of my wife and I performing a live loop of Level by the Raconteurs. It's one of my favorite songs. It's really easy to play. There's only a couple parts, including the drums, bass, guitar, and synth. You don't have to play a keyboard for the synth part, even though I do. You can also play it on the guitar. This video, I'm going to show you exactly how we live loop that song, and also teach you how to solo over the top of it for some extra flair. Let's get started.
Okay, so now we're in Ableton Live, and I use Ableton to do most of my looping. I think it's probably overkill for this song. I think you could probably use a one-track looper and you would be just fine. But I think I do like about Ableton is I can connect it to a keyboard and use some of my sounds like my synth and drums in here. And then the other thing that's nice is I can record each track individually and trigger them on and off. So I'll start over from the left here, which is my drums. And this first track right here is actually just a click track. So I'll play my click track first, and that is how I keep tempo. And then I'll start playing my synth. I'll then play my drums, my bass, guitar, and then my guitar solo. And the nice thing too is if I wanted to, I can just come in here and stop all of those at once or play everything at once. And so usually what I'll do is when I go from the verse to the chorus, I'll turn off one of the guitar parts, and then I will just hit play on the entire set of tracks and it will turn everything back on.
All right, so the synth part has no flats or sharps, so you don't use any of the black keys, you only use the white keys. And the riff is really simple. It starts on the B, goes up to the F, D, G, and that's the trickiest part of it. So it goes B, F, D, G, and then you just kind of walk it down from there. So here it is again. B, F, D, G, D, F, and then you go down with your thumb, you go from the D to the C. So you go B, F, D, G, go back to D on your thumb, D, go back to F on your ring finger, go down to C on your thumb. Here it is again. And then you walk your ring finger down one more to the E. So here it is again. Here it is from the start. If you play the synth part on the guitar, it's a little more tricky because there are several string crossings on the highest two strings. So you start off on the B. So you play B, cross over to the E string, play an F. You put your third finger on the D string and bridge it over to the third fret on the E string, which is a G. So it goes. So then you lift your third finger off the E. So it goes. And you keep your first finger anchored on that F of the E string. So it goes. And then you put your first finger on the C of the first fret, C of the B string. And you take your first finger off the E, so it's an open E, C, E. Here's the whole thing together. And so you just keep droning that through the whole time until you build up the loop for that section. I also like to put some effects on this if I do it on the guitar, just because it sounds kind of like, sounds a little whiny. funky, so sometimes I put like a delay on it and then maybe I reduce the treble. Just so it fits in the mix a little bit better. I usually do the drums as the second thing in the loop, just because it helps me keep rhythm for some of the other instrument parts. It's really very simple. It's just a 4 on the floor without the hi-hat. So bass drum, snare, snare, bass drum, snare. And the song's at 70 BPM, so it's pretty slow. And sometimes I like to double up the bass drum. Okay, so after I layer up that first click track, the synth, and the drums, I start playing the bass. I use my guitar for it. You could also switch out and use a bass, but I think it's just easier to play guitar. And what I do is I actually put an octave pedal on the guitar so it has a bass sound. So it's not exactly the same as a true bass, but it works for me, and it's a lot easier than switching out instruments. So the bass part is super simple, and I just basically repeat it through the entire song. I actually don't turn it off at all. It just layers up nicely with both guitar parts, so that's why you don't have to change your bass part. And it just makes the looping a lot simpler. So all I do is I just play this riff. It's 4 bars long, and it starts like this. It starts on the 1 of E, and it goes up to 3. And then I play 3, 0, 1. So that's the first 2 bars. And so after that first 1, 3, I take a quick rest, and I play 3, 0, 1. The second 2 bars of that bass verse starts the same way, but there's this alteration at the end of it where it goes, and then back into the first 2. So all I'm doing is I'm playing 1, 3, just like the first one, and then you play 3, 0, 1, and you just hold out. You hold out 3 ones. So here's it all together. And it's a little syncopated, so it's not just like you play. So here it is all together. And you just loop that throughout the whole song. Okay, so the guitar verse is very simple. It just mimics pretty much exactly what the bass part does, but instead of playing single notes, you just play bar chords. And I like to have kind of a nice crunch on this. You can put more of a heavy gain if you want, but I feel like it just kind of gets muddled in the mix, especially when you're playing your solo. So I'll just put like a light crunch on it. I actually have an orange emulated amp on here with a light crunch. I think it sounds pretty nice. And so you just play exactly the same thing as the bass, the same rhythm, the same notes. It's just instead of single notes, like I said, it's a power chord, bar chord. So you play F, G, and you play G. I play an open E string, and then I hit the F chord. So the first 2 bars of that verse are, here it is again. And then like the bass part, you play the 3rd bar exactly like the first bar in the bass part. And then you have this syncopated F chord. So here it is all together. So the guitar chorus is very similar to the verse. It uses the same chords, but just a slightly different pattern. And so what I'll usually do is I will stop the verse from playing and then start playing the chorus whenever I want to switch between the verse and the chorus. And I also trigger off the synth part. But if you have a single track looper, you can just keep them playing. It doesn't really matter. They do layer nicely over the original parts because it's so similar. So you can just layer that up if you want. Instead of starting on the F, you start on the G. and you play that twice. So it's only 2 bars, but you play it 4 times. And so I start on the G, I hit it twice, I play an open E, and I play an F right after. So I play. And after that, I play. So I play the F again, and then I hit an open E again, back to G. So here it is all together. And then from there, you can just go straight back into the verse. All right, the solo for this song is really fun to play. It starts on the 12th fret of the D string, which is the 3rd string from the top here. And I usually put my 3rd finger on there because there's a string crossing that happens after you play that. So you start off by playing 12, 12, and then you cross over with your 1st finger onto the G string and you play a 10 with your 1st finger. And you go back to 12, so it's... Let me turn the delay off here. So after that, you go back to the 10th string and you hammer on to the 12th. You play it twice, so it's. And then you wait for 2 bars to go by, and then you play another. And then you play this alteration of it where it goes. So what I'm doing is I'm playing 12, 10, 12, 12, 10, like the first part. But instead of going up, so I go back down to 10 on the D string with my 1st finger. And I play 12 to 10, 12, 10, 10, 12, 10. And I go down 1 fret with my 1st finger to 9. So here it is all together. And then the second part of that is very similar to the first, but you just play the first part twice. So you go. Same thing with the second one. So you play that 12, 12, 10 on the G string, 12, 12 on the D string, 10 on the G string. Okay, and then the next part, you go all the way up to the 15th fret on the E string. And you play 15, 15. Then you play an 18 on the B string. And you usually just bend it up like a 4-step. So 15, 18, bend 4th up. Back to 15 on the E string. And then you play 18 on the B string. Pull off to 15 on the B string. And then play a 16 on the G string. Pull off to 15, 16 on the G string. And then the final part, I actually put an octaver on this to and play a harmony on the octaver. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but I think it sounds pretty cool. All right, so I go to the 15th fret on the E string. So I go 15, 17, 19, 17, 15. Here it is again. And then I play 15, 17, 19. Bend up fourth step, then back down to 19. Here it is again. All right, so then after you play that, you can either go back to the main chorus if you wanted to, and that's kind of how I transition. So I'll go. Or you can keep playing. Or you can keep playing the E minor pentatonic. Okay, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial on how to loop level. Make sure to stay tuned and subscribe if you want to see more of these live looping videos. And let me know in a comment down below if you want to see any other song. Happy to figure out a way to loop it. But until then, I'll see you next time.